Hello. Today we're talking about place value relationships. You're going to write that in your table of contents. So you can pause the video right now to put this in your table of contents. Okay. The next step, what you're going to do is we're going to talk about our vocabulary. And our vocabulary for this, for today, is going to be digits. And a digit is any numeral from 0 to 9. So if I wrote a number, which I'm going to type up 56. That is a two-digit number. We have a 5 and a 6. So those are the amount of digits that it has. When you say what type of number it is, it's the number you would say is 56. And you were going to learn about the place value, how the 6 is in the 1's place value and the 5 is in the 10's place value. So the next step you're going to do after you write down your digits and you should be on page 2 to writing the vocabulary down. So you write at the top of page 2 vocabulary, then you write the digits, then you're going to write place value, and it's the value of a digit as determined by its location in a number, such as the ones, tens, hundreds, 1,000, 10,000s, etc. On the next page we'll discuss this more. This is another one that's called standard form. It's the representation of a number using digits. So if I have this digit right here, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digit number, right? So we talked about that up at the top. But then you wouldn't actually say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for a number, would you? You would say 56,789. And when you say that, that is actually what it is written in word form. So whatever you say is what word form is, and it's the representation of a number in written words. So if I wanted to write this number that's in standard form, when you see the digits, that's standard form. When you write it in word form, you would write it as 56,789. One misconception and one issue that most of our students are having is that whenever they have a tendency to say 56,789. Well, whenever you say "and" inside for a number, that actually means you put a decimal. So what I mean by that is, if I say 56,789, that is actually the number I should have written. 56,789. When I say "and," it puts the decimal. Just like when I say 1,000, that's where the comma goes. Okay? So when you say the number, so you would say 56,000, that's where the comma goes. 789, if you say "and," you're supposed to put a decimal. So the way you should say it is 56,789. It's just something, it's a way to represent it. It's, especially speaking mathematically, it's very easy to make that mistake. So really, if you're hearing your student talk about a number, or if you're hearing a friend talk about a number, and you hear them say "and," it's really cool. You'll be like, oh, actually, when you say "and," that means it's a decimal. So then I'm going to give you guys some time now to write all this down on here. Do not do this part. This is something we'll talk about tomorrow. So write these down in your math journal. I'm going to pause for letting you to do this. All right. So what we're going to talk about now is place value. And what you're going to do, your reflection, your thinking, your answer that you need to do. Sorry for that interruption. If you are looking, oh no, hold on. Sorry for that interruption. There was just an announcement on the loudspeaker. What you're going, the question you're trying to answer after today is, how do you know the value of a numeral? So what I'm going to do is, the way we figure that out is, you're going to, in your journal on page 3, you're going to write, and you are going to make a place value chart. And I'm going to put numbers in there to help you. And we're going to talk about it as I put the numbers. So the very first thing is I'm going to put the number, and I'm going to try and do it here with this. So that's a 5, and I'm going to put a 4 here. So we have the number 45. So one misconception that we have is for our students is that a lot of the times we think that this digit 5 is a bigger number than this 4. But because of the place value, this is the value. The value of this 4 is actually 40. Because you are in the tens place value and you actually have 4 groups of 10, which would be 40. And this is actually, this number would actually be 5 groups of 1. So do you see how 40 is bigger than 5? You much rather have $40 than $5. So that's just a misconception based on wherever the place value is. So as we continue to move to the left, we get to the hundreds place. So I'm going to put another number, and the number I'm going to put is an 8. Well, actually, let's change that. Let's make that a 2. Oop. No. Uh-oh. Oh, I want. Thank you for being patient. So I'm actually going to put right here I'm going to put a 2 here. And that 2 is a smaller digit than the 2, the 4, and the 5, but when we put in a number, we have place value, and the place value actually means this number is actually 200. 2 groups of 100. So I have 2 groups of 100, 4 groups of 10, and 5 groups of 1. So then you come over to the thousands place, so I make my comma. Because when I put a comma, that means I'm going to say the name of the period we're in, the place value. So we're in the thousands now. So if I put a 1 right here, it's the smallest digit up here, right? But it has the most value because it's in the thousands place. So this is actually would be 1,000, right? So I have a 1 group of 1,000, 2 groups of 100, which makes it 200, 4 groups of 10, which would make it 40, and 5 groups of 1, which would make it 5. And as we move on, we'll move on to the 10,000 spot. And let's make this a 7. So this is actually 7 groups of 10,000, and 7 groups of 10,000 would equal 70,000. And then we go to the last one, which would be the hundreds thousand, and let's make this a 3. And now we have 3 groups of 100,000, or 300,000. All right, guys. So, and the way we would say this number, or the way we would talk about this number, is that the digit 7 has a value of 10,000, of 7 groups of 10,000, which would be 70,000. So the value of the 7 is 70,000. And the value of the 4 would be 40. And that's what we really use our place value for, is to be able to help, especially with our ordering numbers and keeping things in place. And it'll help us with our expanded form as we move along. So what I want you guys to do at this moment is I want you to put on page number 3 in your journal the stuff that I highlighted right here. I want you to create this in your journal to help you go back and look. And this is a place value chart to help you in the future. Okay? I'm going to pause for here. And we are actually, this is all we are going to do for today. Hopefully, if you need to, please go back and come back and write the vocabulary words if you were unable to do that. All right? Thank you guys, and I will be doing a science and a social study video next.